Alright guys, today on DOOP by the River YouTube edition, we're going to recap the Philadelphia Union's latest match against Orlando City. What a hard-fought match. Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly. Today, we're going to review the Union versus Orlando City. And let's get this started, guys. Dale! Welcome everyone to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union with me, El Parcero Philly. And of course, real quick before we start this off, reminder that El Parcero Philly is a proud member of PSN, and DOOP by the River is a proud podcast for Philly Sports Network. Head on over to Philly Sports Network for all your Philly sports needs, from the Philadelphia Eagles all the way to the Philadelphia Fusion and all your college sports. Philly Sports Network has you covered. And of course, guys, don't forget to subscribe and rate the DOOP by the River podcast, and if you're so kind as well, leave a comment there. But really want to grow that podcast there. We really want to be your people's podcast, so we could use your support, and every subscriber helps the podcast grow. Guys, before we get into the review here of the Philadelphia Union versus Orlando City, I just wanted to point out real quick that today we got I love this shirt. This is the Views from the Bridge Icarus FC jersey here. Shouts out to my brothers over at Views from the Bridge. Yeah, I want to get the shirts in rotation from all my Union jerseys and all my Union t-shirts. I want to get them in the rotations for DOOP by the River. But you know, something was brought to my attention, especially during the podcast with Orlando's Lions Den, that listen, in the MLS, you know, we are small communities all throughout the United States and even Canada, and you know, for a lot of markets, in specifically the Philadelphia market, we don't get a lot of recognition, we don't get a lot of love. Guys, it's super important that you guys, you know, not only support me, I really do appreciate if you guys can support me, that'd be awesome, but you know, supporting all the Philadelphia Union outlets of media, whether it be a podcast, whether it be a blog website where there's articles, or whether it be a YouTube channel like myself, or Talk DOOP with Ryan. You know, it's important to support all these all these different outlets of media for the Union. The only way this team is going to grow is if we continue getting fans, and if we can continue growing the media markets that this team has. It's not a lot, but you know, especially with the podcast game is so big right now with sports in general, with the world in general. So supporting, you know, of course, DOOP by the River podcast, Views from the Bridge podcast, even supporting, you know, the Sons of Ben podcast, which has been really blowing it up so far in the Union podcast game. To me, honestly, they are the best podcast, and obviously I've run a podcast of my own, but those guys really have great stuff going on over there. But obviously the Free Kick podcast as well, and of course, you know, Sean Brace and Joe Tanzi are doing their thing with the Fox Gambler right now. So it's important that we continue showing support for all the Union outlets there. Oh, how can I forget? It's always sunny and it's always soccer in Philadelphia with Kevin Kincaid. But keep supporting all the media outlets here. Please continue supporting me. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell button for notifications, especially if you're a 5 for 5 Philly sports fan. Definitely check it out. But just wanted to get that message out there real quick, because you know, with us in the middle of our tournament here, you know, it's just truly a blessing for all of us who cover the team to you know, get back to the grind, and we would love for all your support from everyone. All right, and before we get the match at hand, let's talk about as well the hot topic right now with the Philadelphia Union, and that is Mr. Brenden Aaronson. Brenden Aaronson is really getting a lot of eyes on him with these last 2-3 matches. Brenden Aaronson gained a lot of attention now, and even, you know, obviously the highlight has been of course DeMarcus Beasley on Twitter recognizing Brenden Aaronson for his silky smooth play, and it's great to see. It's great to see, you know, both homegrowns, Mark McKenzie and Brenden Aaronson, really getting a lot of attention throughout the league, and it's so good for us. You know, when the Union really put an emphasis on building from within, and especially developing the youth from our youth academy. You know, this is what we imagine. We're getting so close to, you know, getting onto the next phase, being able to sell these players and continue the cycle of developing, having them perform for your club, and then being able to make a profit off of them. Well, right, obviously, you know, a couple weeks ago we talked about Mark McKenzie being, you know, looked at by Celtic FC over in Scotland. Well, Mr. Brenden Aaronson is getting looked at heavily right now by clubs in Bundesliga. From my understanding, we got Freiburg in the mix, Eintracht Frankfurt, Hoffenheim, Borussia Mönchengladbach. York. And potentially, I know it's not the Bundesliga, but RB Salzburg, what the sources read here is that they are also interested in Brandon Aronson. And obviously, if he does go to RB Salzburg, that could be the potential for him to jump into the RB Leipzig system, which Leipzig uses Salzburg more as like a farm system for them, and obviously the New York Red Bulls as well as part of that whole farm system for the Red Bull soccer world. But it's crazy, but they're comparing Brandon Aronson to a young Kai Havertz. If you don't know anything about the Euro soccer, the Bundesliga, Kai Havertz is probably one of the best young promising players. More like he's going to get sold to Bayern Munich or some big club like that in the next couple months, because he's the next promising young prospect over in Germany. So this is obviously such great news to hear by Brandon Aronson. Right now it looks like his market value is around 1.4, 1.5. So he's being looked at by a lot of different clubs over in Europe. So this is the next step here, trying to find a way to get the most we can for Mark McKenzie and Brandon Aronson. With the Brandon Aronson deal is obviously a little bit more complex because of the position he plays, being a number 10 in a central attacking midfield. They're very hard to find these days, and he's a guy with a lot of potential, especially in Bundesliga, where they know that the American market is really one that needs to be tapped. And some of these clubs are starting to find gems. Obviously Christian Pulisic went through there. Right now you got Gio Reyna over there, Weston McKennie, and the list is going to continue growing. So I think for Brandon Aronson, it's the best thing possible for him to go over to Germany. This could either make or break him, because obviously one of the cons that we always point out for Brandon Aronson is the physicality aspect. Sometimes some of the bigger teams, and we'll get to it, especially with this match here against Orlando City. Some of the bigger teams sometimes get to Brandon Aronson because of his size, and he's obviously he hasn't fully grown into his own body yet. So I think the Bundesliga, it's going to test him physically, and I think that's really what Brandon Aronson is going to need to continue his development. There's still a lot of room for improvement for Brandon Aronson. He needs to still read plays a little bit more quicker. I think sometimes that he likes to work, which is great. He's a workhorse, but sometimes he needs to just work a little less and start reading what's going on the pitch a little bit more and start anticipating some more plays. We'll get to it in a little bit, but I think Brandon Aronson still has a lot to improve, and some of it got exposed in this match here as well. So that is the latest news. In the comments below, guys, let me know what your thoughts are the Brandon Aronson move. I also think that there's going to be a sell-on clause. I think with the Union, they're going to try to find a way to get a sell-on clause. Again, the position he plays, they're not very easy to find these days, and he is a promising young guy. So, what's your thoughts on Brandon Aronson rumors that are going on here? Would you be upset if he would go, and for what would you allow him to go for? Let me know in the comments below anything you feel towards Brandon Aronson. But let's get into this match here. So obviously, Philly and Orlando, both these teams are on to the next round. But it was more so for the next round. To obviously, if you win the group, you're going to face a more, I guess you could say, a less opponent, and if you finish in second, you're going to face an opponent that's more equivalent to you. So there was still some stuff on the line here, but the question would be, for Orlando, it was really easy here. All they really needed to do was honestly just draw or get a win, and they won the group. And so the winner of Group A was on the line here. And obviously, you guys know that I knew that I wanted to win Group A, and I'm sure that the Union wanted to win Group A as well. And we knew this was not going to be an easy match. This was going to be a hard-fought match. It was going to take 90 hard-earned minutes for us to get a result here. So let's dive right into the lineups here for your Philadelphia Union. And of course, the formation, nothing changed there. 4-4-2 diamond. Again, I want to call out Google here. I don't know why I'm still using Google. You guys can, let me know in the comments below. You're a freaking dumbass. But no, so I went on Google, and it's pretty funny. They actually have the Union lined up in a 4-3-3 with Brandon Aronson lined up as the quote-unquote number 9, which is actually pretty funny there. But no, it was a 4-4-2 diamond, and it was clear as day. It did fluctuate a little bit in certain situations. We'll get to it in a second, but the formation was the 4-4-2 diamond. Now, the starting goalkeeper for your Philadelphia Union was no surprise again, and we had Mr. Andre Blake, who again, for 3 straight matches in this tournament that was so crucial here, Mr. Andre Blake stepped up to the plate yet again. He was absolutely fantastic. I don't know what else to say about Andre Blake. You know, he continues proving my point that I said this past week, that Mr. Andre Blake is the best goalkeeper in the MLS right now, and he absolutely looks like it, ladies and gentlemen. He looked like it. He again had so many crucial saves in this match here to keep us alive in this game, and I can't tell you how proud I am for Andre Blake. But listen, the job's not done. Andre needs to continue this play. We need him for a couple more matches here. We will see. But if Andre Blake continues playing like this, guys, I really like our chances going on to the next rounds. Man, it really was crucial. But we will get to the other issues that was on display here for the pitch. But Mr. Andre Blake was not one of them. Seeing 12 shots with 6 saves there. Man, he had his hands tied in this match, but he stepped up to the plate here yet again for Mr. Andre Blake. Let's move on to the back line here, and starting from left to right, we had Kai Wagner, Mark McKenzie, Jack Elliott, and Mr. Ray Gaddis. And I was right about the center back pairing. This has been, you know, the real question mark going into every match here in this tournament is who was Jim Kirch going to go with as the pairing for the center back positions. And of course, we saw Mark McKenzie and Jack Elliott get to start there. You know, the Orlando attack has been really fluid this season in this tournament. And you know, you got to give credit to them. You know, but Jack Elliott and Mark McKenzie's hands were really were tied as well in this match with what Orlando was bringing to them throughout this whole match there. For Kai Wagner and Ray Gaddis, Kai Wagner was pretty active on the attack in this match as well. That was really refreshing to see. Let's move on to the midfield here, starting from left to right. At the left shuttle midfielder, we had Jamiro Montero at that 6 role. We had Warren Crayval at that right shuttle midfielder. We had Alejandro Bedoya, and at the tip of the diamond, we had Mr. Brandon Aronson. Now, the midfield was really interesting in this match. Obviously, you know, we got to start off with, you know, the fact that El Brujo was not able to start in this match. Obviously, suspension reasons, he was not able to play in this match. And for Warren Crayval got this start there. And it's this typical Warren Crayval type of performance here. You know, nothing you really can't be too mad at, because, you know, when it comes to being on the defensive side of things, he's tenacious and he will do everything to get the ball back and get the ball back in our possession. And you love him for that aspect of him. But obviously, you know, the attacking is kind of the, you know, Achilles heel when it comes to his play here. He's not that active on the attack. He doesn't make the smartest, you know, first decisions, and, you know, he's not that accurate with the long ball. So it's kind of an Achilles heel there. And, you know, you saw times throughout this match, Jamiro Montero would drop back from that left shuttle midfielder and would start the attack from deep, you know, serving as a regista role. So the ground that Jamiro Montero was covering in this match was crazy to think. I think he played all 90 minutes. It's crazy to think. He really you couldn't ask anything else from Jamiro Montero. He played his heart out. Alejandro Bedoya was interesting to look at as well. You know, the Union were really trying to create, you know, width from the attack, especially, you know, you started noticing Orlando City. I really think they were trying to go into this match with nothing less than a point. You know, they were going to go for the win if they could, but if not, they would settle for the point. And so that's when you started seeing them park the bus a little bit. They would drop, you know, 10 defenders back essentially, and the Union were trying to spread out the attack from out wide. Alejandro Bedoya would attack from the right hand side. Obviously, you know, Ray Gaddis is not the best with attacking the ball, and I think Jim Kirch knows that, and he, you know, put the responsibility on Alejandro Bedoya to try to create an attack from the far right width. So that was interesting to definitely tell there. In the 73rd minute, we did see Jim sub in Jakob Glesnes, dropping him back, giving us a 3-back set, and, you know, pushing Kai Wagner and Alejandro Bedoya essentially out wide. And so that's what we would get for at least 30 minutes there. Brandon Aronson, you know, we just talked about. Obviously, you know, it's getting the praise of being looked at by some big clubs in Europe. It's great. That is absolutely fantastic. You know, the work rate he does have is great. He works his ass off. He runs. He covers a lot of ground as a number 10. And he does create at times. He does. But like what we just said, sometimes, you know, he moves too fast and he doesn't slow things down around him enough. You know, not noticing the space that is wide open. Just if he could just take a quick sec and just analyze what's going on around him and then just react. There was just at times he wasn't making the right runs, or he wasn't going in the right spaces, and that would hurt the attack at times as well. You know, a potential opportunity for a goal presented itself, but Brandon didn't make that right run, or Brandon wasn't at the right spot. So obviously, again, this is a 19-year-old kid. I know he's being looked at by big clubs, but these are the progressions he's going to have to go through, and you got to believe that Brandon is just going to keep learning from these experiences, and it's important that he goes through them right now. So I'm sure Jim and I'm sure Brandon and the rest of the coaching staff are going to look at this film and see where they can improve, and I hope that the next match he does learn, and he does improve upon some of these things, and it would really go a long way, and it would help us out a lot, especially in this match. We just talked about Jamiro having to drop back deep, to try to create an attack, because of the inabilities of Warren Craval. So you add that plus the fact that Brandon Aronson, wasn't making Brandon Aronson at times, isn't at the right spot on the attack. It really hinders the Union attack. Now, Brandon would get subbed off in the 94th minute, giving Matt Real legitimately like 2 minutes to play out there. Matt would move out wide. Right up top, again, we had Sergio Santos Gomes up top with Kasper Shibilko as our two strikers. Honestly, guys, it was tough for them. Orlando brought the physicality all throughout the pitch. But especially the Antonio Carlos and Robin Jensen, they were really physical with both Sergio and Kasper. Sergio really matched their physicality. He really showed he's a strong mother effer out there on that pitch on Monday night. Unfortunately, those guys could not get a goal in the net. It was tough, and it was tough. And again, it's important for Brandon Aronson to learn from the chances that did not happen. There was a couple chances where if the 10 could just link up with both the strikers, who knows what could have happened. But I definitely have to commend Sergio Santos Gomes for a great performance there, for sure. I think he was one of the big bright spots here for the Union. He would be subbed off in the 59th minute. He would be subbed off for Mr. Elsinho. I mean, the rest writes itself. You guys know what it is when Elsinho's on the pitch. All right, look, this was a physical ass 90 minutes that I watched from the jump. And we talked about this, and I'm sure the Union expected it as well, that Inter Miami were desperate, and against the Union they brought everything that they could, but the Union were just too strong. Orlando City really, besides us, have been really one of the surprising clubs in this tournament, and they brought it as well. They knew they had to come with the same physicality, the same intensity that the Philadelphia Union were going to bring, because if not, they were not going to have a chance against us. And they really brought it, and you got to commend Orlando City for what they did. They looked really sharp from beginning to end. It was really good to see the competition that was out there. There was a lot of stoppage going on, but that's always annoying. But from the beginning, I think that Orlando had looked more cohesive. Junior Urso, who actually left the match really early from a muscular injury, he surprised me. He looked really good. Especially playing from as a CDM, moving up and joining the attack. He really was relentless, but he went a little bit too hard. But Nani and Chris Mueller, having those two guys out as wingers really was great for Orlando City. Those two know how to make the runs that open up space. They really open up space for Pereira as the number 10, and also for Akindele, the number 9. You really got to commend the back line and Andre Blake, because Orlando City had some nice opportunities, and they had the attack really working here. For the first half, it was 0-0, and it was back and forth. It was really chippy. And then in this 59th minute, we just talked about Sergio Santos Gomes would come out and Elsinho would come in, and that would create the spark we had. Elsinho had the same impact that he had even last season. He comes in, he really changes the shape of the game. And from a Brandon Aronson pass to Alejandro Bedoya, but Bedoya would just chip it out wide to Elsinho, and Elsinho from a tough angle would rocket a shot into the left side of the net past Pedro Galiz, the Peruvian goalkeeper, who also played really well for Orlando City. But goddamn, that shot was nice by Elsinho, and that would put the Union up 1-0, and we were rejoicing, and this was it. This was like the other matches. We got the goal here early in the second half. Now it's time to close out this match. But then 2 minutes later, this Orlando City team literally has a heart of a lion. Nani would cross in a ball for Mauricio Pereira. The number 10 would just literally get enough on the head, and the ball would just sail right over Andre Blake, and it would fall into the net. And damn, that really just took all the air out of me, and the air out of a lot of Union fans. But there's still plenty of time. 20 minutes left. plenty of time for the Union to get the game-winning goal, but Orlando City really bunkered down. They really wanted that. At that point, all they wanted was the damn tie. Now we have to talk about a specific moment in this match that really was controversial, and it really was talked about from both sides. All right, near the end of the match, I want to say, I don't have it on top of my head, but I want to say around the 85th minute. We were in the Orlando end. Orlando's Antonio Carlos tried to clear the ball out of the zone, and the ball would find the fullback Ruan's hand, and it was a clear handball, clear as day. It was handball in the box, in Orlando's box. Right off the bat, that should have been called as a PK. However, the referee did not even go to VAR. Guys, he didn't even go to VAR. That is so frustrating, guys. And I understand, and Union fans, I know you guys were freaking out. And I don't understand how the ref didn't even go to the VAR. I really want to know what the process is going, because this is the second time for us, just alone the Union, the second time in two matches, the last two matches, the referee didn't even have the gumption to even walk to the VAR booth. He didn't even think about it. Did he even cross his head? Did he even look at the thing? I really want to know what the process goes into. Is it like the rest of the world and like the NFL when it comes to challenges? Does he have guys upstairs or guys somewhere else to tell him, hey, I think we need to check that and go to the booth? I really want to understand that situation, because if we look at it over and over again, it clearly hit Ruan's hand. And that would have been a PK, and who knows what would have happened, but it would have given us the opportunity to at least get the game-winning goal. That was the controversial moment, and that really was the highlight of this match here. A hard-fought match between both quality sides. Both teams were very good, and both teams may very well see each other at the end of this tournament here. But that situation is terrible. Was absolutely terrible by the referees, and I think the MLS really need to look at the situation at hand when it comes to the referees and the VAR situation. So Union finished this match on a 1-1 draw. Obviously a tough draw simply because you had the lead. We outshot Orlando. We definitely outshot them, even though they beat us in the possession battle. But you outshot Orlando City. That's a very important stat there. And yet you still got the draw, and you had a terrible call. That could have been that we could have won. We could have won the game off that PK. Off that PK, we could have won this game. But it is what it is. It sucks. But I think there's a lot that the Union can learn from within this match. I think the Union still have room for improvement, even though they look very good. And I think they're still one of the favorites. A lot of teams still have a lot of rust going on. So I think the Union are in a really good spot. Because of the coaching, because of the experience that they already have, because of the chemistry that they already have. So even though this was a tough, this wasn't like a morale boosting type of draw. This was a draw that it was like, what the fuck, what in the actual fuck? We could have actually won that, but it is what it is, guys. So we're on to the next round now. The games are over. It's time for the nitty gritty. We're in the round of 16. It's winner go home now. Right now, we are still right now at this current moment that I'm recording this, DC and Montreal are playing. Montreal are still winning 1-0 in the 53rd minute. If that result stands, then we would more than likely play the New England Revolution in the first round of the round of 16. So it should be very interesting to see. But guys, stay tuned to my channel, DOOP by the River. Stay tuned to PSN. I know Tim, Matt, and even Liam have you guys covered with articles. We will have a DOOP by the River episode more than likely out Thursday, so stay tuned for that. We will see if we can get a guest on. It's pretty short notice, guys, so I won't promise anything. But yeah, PSN and myself and my guys at PSN have you covered for everything Philadelphia Union going forward. Guys, in the comments below, this was a match. This was a very frustrating match, to say the least. So in the comments below, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to let me know, guys. what were your thoughts of this Orlando City match? Let me know about your thoughts on the no call on the handball near the end of the match. Let me know what you guys are feeling about VAR as well, and let me know your thoughts on the Brandon Aronson rumors as well, guys. I'm really curious to see. This is now back-to-back big homegrown prospects. I've been in the rumorville, so I want to know your opinions down below, guys. Don't forget to check out PSN for all your Philly sports needs. Again, I will leave a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to DOOP by the River as well. We are your people's podcast, and we would love your support, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @ParceroPhilly and on Instagram as well at @L_Parcero_Philly. Until next time, guys, I'm your boy El Parcero Philly, telling you guys to do ball. I'll talk to you guys very soon.
Danny on the track, boys.